Good evening. Welcome to Follow Everton. Sorry about the slight delay. Had a little bit of a minor technical hitch here with the microphone. Just wanted to make sure it was working before we started the broadcast. I've got Chris with me today. How are you doing, Chris?
I'm all right. I'm honestly, no result today was going to please anybody. I don't think. I guess this was the lesser of the evils, if you like, but I think we still realize it's down to us. So I don't feel too much differently, and I'm still effing worried, if I'm honest.
A lot of fans were torturing themselves in the on Twitter and on social media today, and just in general, to be fair.
Did you watch?
No, I saw the last 25 minutes of the game, last 25, 30 minutes of the game.
Right.
And a lot of fans were torturing themselves. Should we go for a Leicester win? Do we want a Leeds win? And ultimately, it's very, very hard to predict and to know what the best outcome will be, because we're not a mind reader.
Right. And that's the thing. You've now, as you go through this, much like we did with the bottom 9 weeks ago, you come up with every single scenario that could be good for us and could be bad for us. And you find ways that go both ways. And so you really do just drive yourself nuts. And then as soon as Leeds take the lead, you try to convince yourself, okay, well, then if this happens and this happens, then it's fine. No big deal. But ultimately we did, I think for the most part, either a Leicester draw or a Leicester win was probably going to be better given the recent form of both teams. I really think Leeds are just absolutely dreadful, and they were very lucky to come out with a draw. Having said that, they did have a chance to win late that I still can't believe Patrick Bamford missed, but it is what it is. I actually only saw the second half myself, so I don't know how the first half went, but I don't get the impression that Leeds were very impressive.
No, it doesn't really matter, to be fair, because I think this is reacting to the result and just talking about that and the consequences. But you're totally right there. I think a lot of people were hoping for a draw because I think what that does is that allows, and it's been a draw. It is a draw. It allows Everton to leapfrog both Leeds and Leicester on Thursday if we can beat Newcastle. Obviously, That's a big if. But at least it doesn't. There's a lot of pressure on us. Obviously, we've got to take action. There's only 6 games left. We can't say, "Oh, there's another game." We have to try and get results now. But at least it doesn't mean that, for example, Leeds pull away. I think it's better to have both of those in there because I think, as you've said before, Leeds' fixtures are very difficult. Leicester just look very strange. I think from what I saw of both teams, I thought Leeds were very poor. Look lost, no identity. I thought at least Leicester looked like they could play on the counter-attack in transition, win the ball, slip it through with their pacing behind. So if you ask me who I'd rather probably play, I'd probably say I'd rather play Leeds, actually, in a 1v1 game. I don't know who will go down. We didn't know who to root for. I think the Leicester winning, when Leicester were winning, actually, I wasn't too pleased about that.
Leeds, you mean?
Leeds were winning. Yeah, when Leeds were winning, there were some comments on a group chat about whether that was a good thing or not. And Jeff, obviously, had said that it was a disaster for us. What do you think he meant by that, Chris?
Well, I think he meant that given, obviously, there are a few teams down in this cluster that we call the bottom 5 right now, right? I think Leeds winning, given how badly they've been playing lately, I think that would have been a disaster. In this, Jeff's worried we're not going to beat Leicester, right? And so I think that if Leicester were to get dragged back in, even though their form had been not great, but they just gotten a win, I think if Leicester were to get dragged back in and then beat us on top of that, I think it really would have been the final nail. Now, having said all of that, again, we can do this all day. We can go around in circles coming up with good and bad scenarios, but I just think that Leeds are a worse team. I think Jeff thinks that Leeds are a worse team. And so Leeds picking up points as a quote unquote worse team, I think that we all kind of collectively thought as a group that Leeds were the team that should be fighting with us instead of Leicester, but it is what it is. So that's my guess as to what Jeff might have been thinking.
Again, I was having an internal battle this afternoon. Do I want Leeds to win? Do I want Leicester to win? Do I want to draw? I saw it all over social media. I thought to myself, this is torture. For your own mental health, just probably best to just stay out of it.
But you saw everybody's minds changing every 5 minutes about what they wanted, and it was kind of funny. I don't know.
Listen, I'm going to say it. I'm going to say it now. I'm
going to be start recording, everybody.
I've been quite negative.
No.
Because we are absolutely shite. But apart from that, Leeds look terrible. They look lost, and Leicester aren't that good. What I saw there, I think Leeds are the third team going down.
I said a few days. Well, we were all talking a few days ago. I think you might have asked the question to John or somebody did, and they were saying, "Do you think Everton are bottom three? Do you think there are 3 teams worse than Everton?" He said no. I said yes because I do think Leeds are worse. Now, forget the fact that we beat Leeds. That's not even necessarily what I'm talking about. I've watched Leeds. Leeds are just horrible in possession. The only difference between us and them is they have found a way to win a game on the road. Until we do that, then there's not much that we can say. But I do think Leeds are a worse team than us, and I think Forest and Southampton are a worse team than us. Leicester, I think, is right on par. I do think Leicester have more quality in terms of goal scoring, but I think that they're on par in terms of possession and the way they played most of the season. I do think Leeds are worse. I'm with you.
It looks like in a nacho or whatever you want, Dorito, nacho, whatever.
It's a cool name. I
He
think
looks like
I think it's Kalechi, but I've always called him Kalakai Iheanacho because it just sounds like a warrior, like fighting somebody. I don't know.
thanks, Chris. It is the first one you said. Kalechi, was it?
Kalechi, I know.
Kelechi,
No
I
disrespect intended to Mr. Iheanacho. I do admire your footballing. Go ahead.
I think he's got a groin problem. He came off, so
he came
he'll be
off
injured.
very. Funnily enough, he developed the groin problem in the build up to the goal, and then he starts holding his groin, and before he goes down, he makes the pass. It was quite amazing. And then he just goes down and basically never comes back up, and then comes off with what looks like a pretty, I don't know if it's like super serious, but usually groin injuries don't come back within a week. And so you would think that he won't be available this weekend, but we'll see.
And then that means, does Jamie Vardy start for them? Can he roll back the years for the last 6 games for them? That is the concern.
Don't know. He's just come back from an ankle injury and then took a couple physical shots at the end of this one. So it's one of those where he might have to slot in. I don't know how they would play in terms of just having a Daka up top with Madison in the midfield and possibly playing a false 9 type style. That would be interesting. But I'm not really sure what they would do if they didn't have Iheanacho or Vardy. That would be an interesting look. But I mean, that would again, we've shown it doesn't matter who teams put up against us. If we don't show up, we don't show up. So not to transition into Mr. Negative myself, but
I've got to be honest, but I'm not really bothered about. I haven't watched a lot of Leicester games this season, and I always thought Harvey Barnes was the issue and James Maddison, but from what I've been told, they're not that good. They haven't played that well, so. It's like you want to play Leicester without Maddison and without Harvey Barnes and without probably Iheanacho and Jamie Vardy, but
and everyone.
Someone needs to get sent off. Just want to say hello to everyone in the comments. It's just a short one tonight. We should be on for the 10 minutes or so. Thanks for dropping in. I know it's late in the UK. I'm quite tired myself. It's 11:15 at night. It's early afternoon, is it over there, Chris?
Yeah, we're at just approaching 5 o'clock here, and I see a couple comments right now talking about it's a good result. I agree. I do think it's a good result. I think, like I said, there was no result that was going to make me over the moon happy, but I've said for a while now, we just don't want a team getting 3 points. I'd rather both teams get 1 because it is in striking distance. We have to learn how to win games. If we're going to come back to us until we win games, I won't be convinced that we even can win games at this point, as sad as that sounds. But having said that, it's always going to be better to have teams at arm's length than, as people say, have it in our hands. So I guess we have to be happy with this.
What I will say is I think that Everton will have more of an identity than what I saw today from the likes of Leeds and Leicester moving forward with Decore, Onana, and hopefully Calvert-Lewin.
If Onana's fit, I'm not convinced Onana's fit. We just don't know. Like, I don't. You do what?
Text him.
Text him. All right, give me one
Find
second,
out.
Guys.
Let's have a look at some of the comments and let's talk about the other results and look forward to the week ahead. Good evening if you're watching here, or good afternoon if you're in the States. To David, Wonderlust, Mark, John, Jazz, TJ Mid, and others.
Jazz, a new viewer. Thanks for joining. Appreciate
That's my girlfriend watching next door.
I know.
Fuck off. And
everyone take a deep breath.
Thought he's on a wind up here. Eugene, China Blue as well. Holly, thanks for dropping in. The other results today, then, Chris, you saw that Aston Villa, they're on a roll, aren't they?
They really are, and I mean, it's just business for them at this point. I didn't see any of that game, to be fair, so I don't know how much, if at all, Fulham threatened. We all know we've seen Fulham lately. Even their last game where Fulham beat Leeds, they still look like they were just having to jog about. Like Fulham are just coasting to the beach into next season, I think. and staying in the Prem. Which honestly, on my table I filled out before the season, I actually had Fulham going back down. So to say they've overachieved is an understatement. But and then Wolves, I mean, we thought Wolves were probably safe, but this just pretty much cements that. I was a little bit surprised at how that scoreline ended up, just because I don't know. Wolves are a weird team. We've seen their inconsistency. They were the team that lost to Leeds a few weeks ago, and we've seen them lose games lately that we thought that they wouldn't. And so today, they got it done when they needed to. So to say I'm surprised, not sure, but it's just, I guess, more interesting to see. And now it's a clearer picture of what we're looking at. And sorry, one more thing that might help us in the long run, because we do have to go to the Molineux, and hopefully at that point Wolves will have nothing to play for. I hate even saying that, because you want to think that we'll bring the fight, but I'm just being realistic at this point.
Yeah, I did think that about Wolves. I thought I'd probably rather have Bournemouth and Wolves safe if they're going to be safe anyway. But Bournemouth obviously lost in rather limp fashion to West Ham.
What happened? I still haven't seen any of that, but that's just a surprising, scoreline, to say the least.
A little bit of complacency can creep in when you have a couple of results, as Bournemouth have done. Perhaps they took the foot off the gas, so to speak. But the Wolves result, I think, yeah, I mean, Wolves aren't a great team, but
no. But Palace had won 3 in a row. They were scoring goals. They had the 0-0 draw against us, but still, you expect them to go in there. They had played well even away lately, and so it's a little bit surprising. I wonder if it's the short turnaround that got the Palace, or what the deal was. I know Eze had a couple of chances in the first half, but I don't know.
A spade is a spade. Crystal Palace haven't suddenly become a great team overnight. I watched them against us, and I thought they were bang average. And on another day, we should have taken the 3 points there.
Right.
That game was there for the taking. They were a lot worse than I thought they were going to be. To be honest, I thought they were going to turn up and pepper the goal and have chance after chance. It wasn't like that. Right. I think that was a missed opportunity. I think Palace probably and Wolves are both safe. Probably don't need to pick up another point, in fairness.
Right.
But I'm sure in the next 5 games, they'll get at least 2 or 3 points and they'll be comfortable. And what you're saying about that, yeah, we do have to go to Wolves' second to last game of the season. But also, with them being safe, potentially there's pressure off them. Maybe they can actually play some decent football for once. So it might not work in our favour, but you would hope that they would be not looking to put on a show for their fans in their last home game of the season and on the beach, and Everton can turn up. And I think where we've got over the other teams, where you look at apart from perhaps West Ham, from 12th down, I think Everton have got the best. I think we've got the most physicality in the team throughout the spine. It's central defenders, midfielders, if they're all fit, and up front. And even to be fair, with the wingers, we've got Iwobi and McNeil. Is not really the same, but you know what I'm trying to say. I think we've got.
I was really hoping you were going to present an argument that I didn't know about, because I was about to get really excited that Dwight McNeil was about to become a physical footballer. But
I think he works. He's tenacious and he works hard.
I'll give you that. And he's honestly, he's. Yeah. I'm trying to stay. We've seen Iwobi's footwork work in his favor. We just have not seen it in recent times. And even though we've had good times,
Look, we're playing Newcastle. You want Iwobi to tuck in a little bit, and the thing is, when you've got a natural left-footed player with a good left foot, we haven't got anyone who can actually play a through ball and behind, and he can slot with his left,
right,
or get it over to the back post, and he can slot with his left. Because the crossing from the right when it's Iwobi is woeful, and you just think he's in and out of games far too much. We need players that have been anonymous in other games and not done anything for weeks, and the likes of Iwobi, who's just got a sole goal all season, to actually turn up against Newcastle and do something for us on Thursday. And we'll have the match preview for that tomorrow. Not sure who the cast will be. I'll let you know on Twitter.
My guess is it will be a different cast than us, but we shall see.
Yeah.
Speaking of physicality, we're going to find out a lot about our club on Thursday, because Newcastle are certainly going to bring the physicality, and so we have to respond in a way that's going to at least be up for it. I know this isn't a match preview, so I don't want to get too far into it. I'm not feeling great. I've reversed course a little bit. I've said for 2 weeks I'm very confident we're going to get a result against Newcastle, and now I've just completely reversed course. I'm not feeling good at all.
I know. I'm just looking at that table and thinking, yeah, we wanted a draw because Leicester, we couldn't have done with them, say, on 31 points, and then having to go there to beat them just to still behind them on goal difference. That would have been bad. Leeds winning, they would have had the 32 points as well. That would have been 5 in front of us. That would have been a disaster. So we're fucked a little bit, let's be honest. But you don't laugh, you cry.
I know. That's exactly.
But the thing is, if we get a point against Newcastle and beat Leicester, It's all ifs and ifs and ifs and ifs and ifs and ifs. It is depressing, but I think we've had a slight boost. If we're extremely depressed at the moment, I'd say we're severely depressed, just based off that, because I think it's put them back in reach. Where it could have been Leeds out of sight, really, and Leicester would have been above us, even if we beat them. So it's worked out okay.
Yeah,
It's worked out okay. I think Bournemouth will get another win, and to be fair, if they're safe by the final game of the season, that'll be okay. But it does stink of a Bournemouth shutting up shop and counter-attacking us like they did a few years ago.
I just can't think about any of it. I don't know. It's just all frustrating. It's I don't know. We've seen. I'm trying to find a way now, and this is what it's become to. I'm trying to find a contingency plan for if we don't win at Leicester, because for a while we've said that's the game. If we don't win, we're down, right? I think if we find a way to draw at Leicester, then all of a sudden it becomes to now we have to win at Wolves. And so I'm trying to find a scenario where we go down to the Molineux and win. But I just really think it comes down to next Monday. I hope that matter of fact, so much so that I wonder what happens if it's I say this all the time. What if it's 1-1 on 75 minutes, whatever. I wonder that, especially this Thursday, because will Sean Dyche try to save his players for next Monday? I know it should be all in. We're trying to get 3 points, but you're playing a team like Newcastle, and even though it's at home, it's still Newcastle at the end of the day. If you have a little bit of a tired player like a Dominic Calvert-Lewin trying to, maybe on 70, 75 minutes, whatever it is, are you going to try and save him for Leicester on Monday and be okay with the draw against Newcastle?
I don't know how we're going to approach these games. I imagine it will be back to low block, waiting for the team to make a mistake, getting some set pieces and some not traditional. There's nothing traditional about this at the moment. Transitional play and trying to punish teams like that. But Newcastle don't make a lot of mistakes, but they did lose to Villa.
Quite.
What I'm going to ask you, Chris, would you take a draw in every match now until the end of the season?
Yes, only in the sense of points, but I don't think that's possible. Like I don't think we're capable of drawing every match, if that makes any sense. But no, listen, I can't believe I'm saying 34 points is going to be safe, but I really think it will, because of the teams around us. Because Leeds and Leicester on 30 and 20. Now here, let me bring this back up just so everyone can see this.
Do you honestly think Leicester are not going to get 4 points?
Okay, let them get 4. Let them get 4 then. We can get if Leeds were to get 4 points. Now we're getting into crazy maths, because that means their losses will have to be significant. But again, Leeds have shown that they lose significantly when they lose 6-1, 5-1, 4-1 up here to Arsenal. Look at Leeds' schedule. They go to Bournemouth. Now that's obviously we're hoping Bournemouth can find some form. But after that, they go to the Etihad. They host Newcastle. West Ham have been better at home, so I know that, and they've just been better lately anyway, so I don't expect Leeds to come out of this with anything. And then they host Spurs. It's very possible that Leeds don't get another point this season, but let's just pretend they do. If they find 4 points out of this, then good on them. And
are they that crap that they could not get another point?
What's that? Leeds are poor. Leeds are horrible. Who do they get points against? Bournemouth? Or are they going to get points in the last game against Tottenham? I know Spurs.
Can I play devil's advocate here?
Yeah, sure.
I think they'll get a draw at Bournemouth.
Okay,
I think they'll lose to Man City. Even the cynical person inside me thinks that Man City should have enough to get over Leeds.
Right.
They're at home to Newcastle. Yeah, I think Newcastle will just turn up and bum them, because they've got. Sorry, that's a terrible touchy phrase. Batter them.
We'll edit that one out.
We might have to edit that out. This is the scouse in me.
It is. What's it? Past the watershed? Is that what it's called? Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's 11 o'clock at night, so you can fuck off if you don't like it.
We apologize to our children viewers out there. Go on.
No, it's 11 o'clock. Please swear. I do apologize. Please swear. We're all fuming.
Our American viewership's gone so far up, though, over the past few weeks, and now, it's not.
We've got 53 people watching. I don't know where you're all based. Let us know in the comments. No, the Leeds Newcastle one, it's one of those. You think Newcastle should turn up and turn them over, because I think Leeds' approach is different to us. I think we will rely on some transitional play, mistakes of opposition, not making mistakes ourselves if we can, not giving them too much space in behind and between the lines.
But against any team that can score, though, Leeds will never. Leeds are so open in the midfield and on defense.
This is what I'm going to say. So that was exactly what I was going to say, Chris. I think Leeds play a little bit more open. I don't think they can do a low block and try and out physique teams. I think they just get done because they look a bit hapless defensively, and I think once they concede the first goal, that is it for them. So I think they'll get a point at Bournemouth. They'll lose to City, and I think they'll lose to Newcastle. If I'm being brutally honest and not thinking with my Everton negative, cynical glasses, which unfortunately are on most of the time, then the West Ham Leeds one, I think they'll get a draw there again. I think that'll be a stinker. You'd hope West Ham will have enough at home. They've shown they can beat teams, and at the bottom, it's what teams don't make mistakes as much, and West Ham are one of those that don't make as many mistakes.
Well,
And the final one at Spurs.
yeah,
So
that's at Ellen Road. Sorry, they host. I was just gonna.
yeah,
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you. I was just gonna go to West Ham real quick, only because that's gonna be in the middle of a crazy fixture congestion for West Ham since they had those 2 Europa
no,
Conference League games added. So
West Ham
we.
are going to stay up.
No, I'm not worried about that. All I'm saying is I don't know how they're going to manage those minutes and what players they'll actually be playing against Leeds, so that could come into play. But Spurs, it's anybody's guess. It wouldn't shock me at all if Leeds just beat Spurs 4-0. As silly as that's, Spurs are atrocious. But they did reimburse their fans for the last away match, which I can't believe that actually happened. But I guess power to them and good on them for actually doing something for their fans.
We've got 60 people watching live at 11 o'clock at night. Thanks for joining us.
I love it. We're going to stay on, too, because we love you guys. We do things for our fans. Real quick, I want to get to Leicester since we were on the topic. You're talking about getting 4 points and how they're going to get 4 points. Let's just say we find a draw at the King Power, right?
Yeah.
Leicester then go to Fulham. Honestly, I think Leicester might win that game, but who knows? They host Liverpool. They go to Newcastle, and then they host West Ham. I would much rather we be in this battle with Leeds, given what I'm looking at with Leicester, and given the fact that I've seen Leicester just in the last couple of weeks, really, because for the previous 5 or 6 weeks, maybe even longer, they were just shockingly poor. For the last couple of weeks, they've actually played some decent possessive football, and they've shown that they can at least score a couple of goals. They should have had probably 3 today. I know Vardy was just that far offside for a couple of them. So now if they don't have, if their players aren't fit, that's a different story. But given their schedule as opposed to Leeds' schedule, I would rather be in this battle with Leeds.
Can I see that again?
Sure. My bad. To Leicester's schedule. Yep.
I hate the fact that I'm even having to look at this. It is scandalous. And we said never again last season, but this is just beyond it. I mean, I've got family, friends, my partner, all season tickets that don't actually want to go to the match because they're so mentally drained. And I will ask you a question in a moment, Chris. Actually, I'll ask it now. Just leave. You can take that off for a sec. We'll come back to that. Just while it's on my mind. They've now said that Everton can have the players coming in on the coach for the game on Thursday. This was today's news. If you still got that cough and you're not going to the doctor, I'm going to come over there and fly over and sort you out myself.
Please do.
The players are going to come in the coach. Is this for one reason? Is this for the players' welfare with them potentially driving in with the cars? Is this for the benefit of the atmosphere, or is this just desperation? And how does this reflect on the players when they're getting told we're now going in on the coach in a hotel and it's to get the atmosphere going? Does that then make think, oh, is the atmosphere not good or are we not playing well? That we need this coach?
I'm gonna try and approach this from a positive perspective because I actually want to be a little bit optimistic. For a long time, we've complained that we're not being listened to and that there's no communication with the club, et cetera, with a lot more. And all of it's justified. All of it's true. If they're doing this to try to get the atmosphere going, I don't really see how we can have any complaints. And let's just pretend it's even out of desperation. We have made a request. We've said this is what we want because it was something that we got into last season. It worked. It was something that united the fan base, if you like. We're getting that again. And so just from a very simple perspective, our requests are being honored and we're being listened to. How can we as fans complain about that? We got something that we wanted. And the club apparently have listened to us. I don't even, at this point, I really don't even care what their motive is. I don't care if it's desperation or if they're actually doing the right thing and listening. Whatever the case, this is a time to actually unite the fan base and get the players going. I love it. I wish I could be over there for it. I was meant to be over this month. Know that, and I wish I could, but I love it. That's my take on it. And like I said, if it's not coming from, if it is desperate, I don't think it has anything to do with the players driving themselves, but I think it's more of the other side. But that's my personal take. What do you think?
I had to ask because I think there was a couple of thoughts in my mind when I heard that. But I appreciate that, Chris. That's a good analogy. Let's have a look back at those fixtures then, just very briefly before we go to the
Who are
comments.
we looking at? Leicester, or someone else?
I think it was Leicester's.
All right.
Thank you, Chris. It's head of technical here in the studio.
Oh God, we're in trouble.
Those chairs, we've never sat on those chairs, by the way. Probably never will, since it's not real.
Speak for yourself. Give me a couple years. I'll be in
there. Okay, I think Leeds. Sorry, fucking Leeds again. Everton and Leicester. It stinks of a 0-0. It stinks of a boring draw or a 1-1.
Would you take that
cagey game? I don't ask me again after Thursday.
No, I'm ask you. I'll ask you now because that game, Thursday might not matter in the sense of that game. Let's say that in your mind you want it to be Everton and let's say Leicester are safe. That I know they're not. So I know I'm doing a lot of hypothetical. Let's say it's down to us and Leeds. Would you take a draw? Because a draw. So you take a draw at Leicester if it's down to us and Leeds. Now that still leaves us a point behind Leeds with all of our fixtures coming up.
We've got Man City at home and Brighton away. We're going to lose both those games.
Probably.
And I think Wolves away. Probably, if I'm honest with you, I think we'll get a point at Wolves away. And I think we'll get a point on Newcastle, a point at Leicester. We'll lose to Man City and Brighton. We'll get a point at Wolves, and we'll probably beat Bournemouth. I mean, I want to be more positive because I know the viewers want to cling to something, but that's 1, 2, 3. That's 5 points. And so when I asked you before, would you take 6 draws, 34 points, would that be enough? Now, the reason I want to just double check that was just because I want to look at the Leicester fixtures. So if we said that Leeds were getting, did we say 3 or 4 points? 4 points for Leeds.
We said 4 points to 34 because we were trying to get to 34 ourselves. So if we look at Leicester.
I think Leeds will get 34 points, but they've got the bad goal difference.
Right.
So we'll be above them on goal difference, I think.
Well, no, we're -1. So it would depend on how bad their losses are and our losses are.
Wait, is it not that much?
No, we're so currently I think we're 22 and 21. Yeah, so we're -22.
So we're not allowed anything basically. We're not allowed anything nice. Go back to the
pictures. Gotcha.
Right. Yeah, I mean, okay, draw, and then Fulham. Are they asked? This is the thing that you said about. Are they really not bothered? So,
but they're still a decent. They're still a decent side, though. I mean, they're not just going to lay down, but they're certainly not gonna. They're not going to be super physical. They're not going to overpress to win that game by any means. I mean, if it's 1-1, they'll just just rest and coast. That's just what they're doing right now.
Is Mitrovic won't be back for that, will it? I think
I don't know what number. I want to say no. I want to say I saw a graphic last game. He was on his 4th or 5th miss, so I don't think he'll be back for that. That's a guess. Yeah. I'd have to look that up.
Look, I think they'll lose to Liverpool. I think they'll lose to Newcastle, and they'll beat West Ham on the final day of the season. So you've got the draw, the 1 point. I think they'll get a point at Fulham. That's 2, and I think they'll get 3 at West Ham. So that's 5. So going to be.
We should be writing this down. If they get 5, they're also on 34.
Yeah, all 3 teams will finish on 34 points,
and so we're.
And that's an optimistic thing with them because these teams aren't good. They could feasibly lose all their games, and Everton could feasibly lose.
Yeah, to say we're going to get 6 points is quite an ask, given what I've watched lately.
Yeah, depressing. Okay, I wish we had more positive things to say. There's loads of people in the comments watching, over 60 viewers. Thank you so much. I also want to say that if you are new here, please subscribe because we are at 1,992 subscribers, and 8 more subscribers will take us over the 2,000 mark, which is giving me OCD vibes. And I have been refreshing this subscribers count thing for since the last stream. So I'm pretty.
And don't make me make fake accounts. I really don't want to be that guy. You subscribe, please. We'd appreciate it.
60 of our viewers are watching on YouTube right now. So if you are a subscriber, then please just hit the like button. And if you're not, then click it because the content's good and it's free.
It doesn't hurt you.
Doesn't hurt you. Let's have a look at the comments. Andy's saying he's in Australia. Andy H.
What's up, Andy?
Thanks for joining. That's when we were talking about the time zones before. Sorry if it's not past the watershed there and I was slightly rude. Travis saying
Andy's actually way ahead of us. He's on tomorrow already.
Oh, he's in the future. So what happens tomorrow, Andy?
Yeah.
Do Arsenal bottle it? As I suspect they will. Newcastle will slaughter us. That's from Colin Brown.
I mean, possibly.
Trevor's saying Forest will get points against Southampton. This is
Yeah,
the one we've not even looked at bloody Forest and Southampton. No, just no.
I can't,
I've
my
had
head
enough.
can't take it. Yeah.
Yeah, they're gonna stay up. One of them will pull a
Oh,
rabbit out of the
stop
hat.
it! If that happened, no. Listen, I'll lay plenty of odds that one of those stay up. I mean, that reeks of a 0-0 draw. Now it is at the City Ground. I'll say that. So if Forest do nick a 1-0 win or a 2-0 whatever, but they're both just awful teams right now. I was surprised. I can't believe Forest got 2 at Anfield. To be honest with you.
I wouldn't be surprised if Forest and Southampton stay up and Leeds, Leicester, and Everton get relegated. It would be the most. It would be. Listen, it is a bottom 5 now, and you can call this the bottom 5 show. It absolutely stinks. We've got 70 watching. Thank you so much. We're up to 1,994 subscribers. So 6 more people. Can you hit the subscribe button for us and support us on here? Trevor's saying the late night streams are great. Unfortunately, I have my girlfriend next door who said to me that I shouldn't be doing a stream at this time and that I had to leave. That was 32 minutes and 46 seconds ago. So unless Chris wants to sit on and entertain you all with these comments, then I might have to wrap up in a moment's time.
I can stay on for a little bit. It's up to you.
Chris loves the solo. He loves the chat with me.
I
think I'm his
love
favorite,
all
but he
the
loves the
streams.
solo. He loves the solo show.
I love that Jeff has taken one for the team and started streaming on his phone, so now the internet's fine. So I now love all the streams.
I can't get him to buy the. He needs one of these. You know, like this with the stand for the phone.
We can send him one.
I've said I'll send it, but he's quite proud. He's like, no, I'll buy it myself, but then he won't do it. I need to send him the cable. So I don't know whether you would like to do the honors and look at these comments. There's loads of comments. Do a little bit of an.
You wrap up with a couple of them so I can just find where we are in the comments. Go ahead, do a couple.
Okay,
more.
So I mean, we've missed. There's probably 100 here. I would go right back. To be fair, I'd go right back to maybe 10:44 with John Riley. We're saying, and China Blue saying, I was hoping you guys would be on. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Mark,
all right, I can get her going. That's fine.
Just pick out the ones you could star them. If we sat Lamp earlier, do you think we'd be where Villa is now? No, John.
No, that's Ryan's favorite topic. You really touched on the nerve with him.
I think we'd be about 12th or 13th. I think we'd be in the mix with the Palaces and the Wolves on around 35 points if we'd have got rid of him at Bournemouth. I think we'd have at least 5 more points. I don't think we'd have lost.
And I can't say it enough. It's not just down to tactics with that. That comes down to players too, because if we had done that and actually had a direction going forward, even just for a week or two, then players would have seen that, realized that, and then we actually might have had a couple of more bodies on the bench. And let me be clear, even if they're not the greatest of players, it would have been some fresh legs, so we wouldn't have to just be either not making subs or bringing on Tom Davis every time. No matter what you think of Tom Davis, he's just not a guy that should be first off the bench at any point this season.
He could be good somewhere else, but not here. I think this is the Everton pressure. We've got the squad. We've got a lot of options in central defence and in midfield coming back, and it's nice to have Calvert-Lewin. I'm going to leave you now in the capable hands of Chris. I don't know where he's at, but I was looking kind of around the 10:56 mark. If you can see them comments, Colin,
I'm ready.
So thanks so much, and we need 6 subscribers to hit the 2K mark. So Chris, over to you. I don't want to get in trouble. I've been on here more than I promised. My 15-minute stream became 35 minutes.
Per usual.
Because it is very late, I'm going to hand over to Chris, who's several hours behind me.
All day.
And he'll be on for as long as he wants to. So
just a few more minutes. We'll keep it going while we have some viewers. Cheers, Ryan. We'll talk to you soon, bud.
Thank you.
All right, boys and girls. It's good to see everybody here. Thanks for joining us as always. Leicester versus Everton's on Bank Holiday Monday. Yeah, I think I don't know if the Monday night aspect affects us or not. You'd like to think that it would. It's a night game under the lights, but you can also say the same for Leicester, obviously in a home fixture, especially when they have been on decent form. They've got a win and a draw, and I might add the draw. They definitely could have won that game. So they're playing good possessive football. I just hope we can weather the storm early, because the way that we've started lately in the last couple of weeks, we could be down 2-0 on 25 minutes. I know that sounds scary, but it's just a fact. Wolves winning makes their fixture easier for us, as they are more than we hope so. I agree with that, but it's a matter of we've seen this before. Even teams that put out bad. I mean, look at the game against Watford last season. Watford were already relegated, and we didn't so much as threaten in a game that we pretty much thought we needed to win at that point, coming off the Leicester away win last season. So that's always one that I come back to as just one that we turn up when we want to, as silly as I don't know. Everton need 45 points, mate. We're not even can we even get 45 points? No. Yes. Technically, what? We can get 18, that gets us to 46. That's funny. I think Eugene was on one. All right. Sorry. I fell for the wind up on that one. Holly asked a serious question. I was actually going to ask Ryan, but he's gone. Will you still carry on with follow Everton through thick and thin if we go down guys boss content? Yeah, I'll be supporting Everton whether they're in the National League or whatever league it's in. I'm not ever going to turn my back on this club, and I think a lot of us feel the same way. There will be plenty in the fan base that will, and that's not really that's not meant to slate our fan base by any means. It's just the reality of the situation. At that point, I think that they will have had enough. And it also might be a situation of if we do go down 1-2 leagues, whatever it is, if we have the current board, they won't support until that board is gone. And I honestly completely understand that. Man, if he shows up on Thursday, you almost feel like he's going to score just because that would be the most Everton thing possible. The question is, if he does score, I wonder if he celebrates, and I wonder if it's in front of the Gladys Street because there might be full on murder if that happens. That would be something. Now, having said all of that too, the roar of Goodison, if Tarkovsky just puts a boot into Anthony Gordon, will be. I could probably hear that from the USA. I think. What's up, the Blues? Good to see you, bud. Trevor's had enough. He says we're gone. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. We shall see. Late night streams are great, my mate, especially when they're not late night for me. That makes it even better. Honestly, though, I really think it is like we know people are staying up overseas, and we know that they use this as a space to come together with fellow Evertonians. So I love that. It's basically a Twitter space without the audio phone in. But last week, we even tried that. Ryan decided we were going to have a phone in, and it was actually pretty fun. So I think we might actually try that again in the future. Someone asked earlier, I can't find the comment, but they asked if I'll be doing a watch along tomorrow. The answer is possibly. I thought about doing one today, and quite frankly, it was just one of those where I couldn't. It was mentally I didn't, and again, I didn't know what results I wanted. So yeah, I could have the Leeds game up here, but it's like it would almost just be driving ourselves nuts because I don't know. I do think draw was a good result. I don't know. I don't know what these teams are going to do in the next few weeks, and it's driving us absolutely mad. Leeds running is worse than ours. Yeah, I don't really know if that's true, to be honest with you. And the reason being, even though our away fixtures look easier, if you like, given that it's Leicester and Wolves, it's not. We've shown how we play away. So I don't know if Leeds run in is worse than ours because we have difficult fixtures. Even our home games left are what? Newcastle, Man City, and Bournemouth. I don't trust that we'll beat Bournemouth at all. That's a long way. That's weeks away. We don't know what situation we'll be in. We don't know if it'll be must win. Who knows? We might even be safe by then. I know that's kind of shocking to say, but it's very possible. We don't know who will be fit and who won't be fit for either side. So I try to take it 1 week at a time, but I don't know. It is what it is. Pete, good to see you, bud. The fact I've missed Rondon this season, buddy. What a life we are living right now. I don't know if I missed Rondon. Rondon was a guy that I actually sympathized with last season because Rondon was thrown into something that we all know Rondon wasn't a capable Premier League striker, right? Rondon didn't ask to be thrown into full 90-minute games at his age. He just was. And so it almost felt like Rondon actually cared more than other players on the pitch. And you could even say that this season. If Rondon was on the pitch, I'd say he would be better than a fair amount of players for us on the pitch. And that's so crazy to say, but I've just felt that our players this season have given up more than once, and that hurts me to say. I am very hesitant to say that we lack effort and we give up because that is, it almost feels like you're not supporting a player in a blue shirt. And you know my rule. If they're wearing a blue shirt, I'm going to support them no matter what. But what we've seen in terms of just the jogging and just the not, the blatant being out of position and almost just seem like you're not ours to get back. I don't know. I don't even want to go game by game and think about it because it's just been aggravating. But I think Rondon would have helped given the alternatives that we've had this season. MLS teams, Chris, that are bad as Everton. That's a great question. Funnily enough, I don't follow the MLS, even though I'm based in the US. I never have. I've lived in. So the way the MLS and really a lot of American sports work, like let's just say you have the Chicago Fire, just as an example. The Chicago Fire play fairly outside of Chicago, like 45 minutes to an hour outside of Chicago. And I only use that example because I lived in Chicago for 4 years and I never attended a Fire game because it was just far away. It was very inconvenient to get to. and it wasn't a team. I never got into the MLS, and this is maybe like 10, 12 years ago, because the quality was so poor. And people don't like when I say things like that, especially American MLS fans. But the fact of the matter is, MLS is probably on par with League One, and that might be being generous. And come at me if you don't agree with that. I don't really care. The quality is just not that good. If you're with your mates and you're in a city that they came up with and your deep rooted allegiances, all that, okay, maybe I could get into it. But I didn't grow up with a team. And so just randomly picking one now, it would be hard for me to get very invested in it. I do live in Texas now. I live in Houston. We have the Dynamo. I don't think they're doing very well. I've actually not been to a game. Heard they're very fun, but I don't know. But to answer your question, I can't answer your question that are as bad as Everton. But what I will say is there are some very loyal MLS fan bases. So please don't take that the wrong way. Teams like Atlanta, teams like Portland, teams like Seattle, even St. Louis now. Columbus, probably. I'm sorry if I missed you, but there are some very, very loyal MLS fan bases out there. I know a lot of the teams turn a profit now, whereas that didn't used to be the case. Teams have academies now. Like, the MLS has grown, but I'm not on board with a lot of people that say that soccer is still going to be a big thing in America. And I only said soccer because we were talking about the MLS. I dated a girl from the UK for a while. I've been trained to call it football for many, many years. So don't come at me with the American jokes, or do. I don't really care. But you have to subscribe if you come at me with American jokes. That's a rule. Can't walk away. Exactly, mate. We'll never turn our back. Thanks, Becky. We appreciate it very, very much. What did I think of the results? I hate all the results because we're not winning right now. Even though I think the result might have been the best for us tonight, I still hate it. The fact that we have to worry about this nonsensical shite. Pete, you're right, mate. And here's the thing. I sort of backtracked on this last week because of how, I'm sorry, 2 weeks ago, because of how poor we were against Fulham. Or was that last? I'm sorry. My days all run together at this point. Once a blue, I want it to be all down to us because I want to believe that we can do it. We just can't score goals, and we can't defend either. I know it was a little bit better against Palace. It's just, I don't know. I'm back and forth every week. I hope that we find a way, and I hope we can score goals, and I hope our home form keeps us up. I just can't believe what I saw against Fulham. That is still sticking with me, and I'm still depressed about it, but we shall move on. I don't think this will happen. Well, they've already got the game wrapped up. Excuse me. If they're chasing a goal, I can see Gordon coming on. He's going to provide them with speed. And as we know, we do get beat on the outside in terms of speed. So I can actually see Gordon torching somebody like Mikalenko. God, I hope I'm wrong. I hate that I'm saying this. Future look promising with Cannon and Mills. I'll believe it when I see it, mate. I want it to look bright. I just, again, I am Mr. Negative. I really am Ryan tonight. I'm usually I don't want to say the beacon of positivity by any means, but I usually try to at least bring some positive vibes. I have bitten the blue pill though over the last couple weeks. I cannot believe what I saw against Fulham, and then Palace were there for the taking. I can understand losing away to a team like Man United, but it's just different. It's different when you lose at home to a team that's not even there. Fulham weren't there. Fulham were invisible, and they made us look stupid. How's my cough? Buddy, I've had a cough for so many years. Ryan just thinks that this is a recent thing that I've only had the last couple of weeks. Now, I years of not looking after myself, and I grew up with it with allergies and things like that too. But nonetheless, I will see a doctor soon. I did not see many or I didn't see a doctor for long. Ryan was positive today. It was refreshing. I wonder if he'll bring that. Thursday though, I don't know. Ryan I almost think sometimes Ryan says some things to get us all in a wind up. I don't know if that's true, but when Ryan had the comments that he had about Mason Holgate the other day, you talk about giving my head a spin. If you haven't seen that, go watch our match reaction to the who do we just play? To the Palace game. Basically, Ryan's defense for these comments about how Mason Holgate was just okay and not that bad, where that I think fans expected so much less, and so it wasn't that bad. Mason Holgate almost conceded 2 goals and got a red card. What is less than that? Actually conceding the goals and then getting a red card earlier? I don't know. Mason Holgate. I don't hate Mason Holgate as a person, but as a footballer, he's not on it, and especially wasn't on it that game. I can't believe Deitch put him on. I can't believe Deitch didn't take him off. It was inexcusable and unforgivable as a manager. And if we lose that game and that was the point that took us down, it would have all been on Deitch, and you can't convince me otherwise. Ryan is a very funny guy. Great guy, by the way. He just has some crazy takes sometimes. What's my team? Hang on a second. Give me one. What's my team for Thursday? Denny J says. All right, this will be kind of on the spot because I don't know who's fit. I know Ryan was assuming that Coleman, Onana are fit. Decore will be back off suspension. So Decore slots right back into the squad. I'm going to actually assume that Coleman's not fit. Now, my personal team, by the way, I don't think this is the team Deitch puts out, but my personal team, what I would put on, Pickford in goal, Mikalenko, Tarkovsky. I stopped to say Michael Keane because I personally would put Yerry Mina on, but there is something that we don't know, and there's a reason Yerry Mina isn't playing, right? So I'm just going to say Michael Keane just because, and I don't like it. Mikalenko, Tarkovsky, Keane. I would put Patterson on the right. Sean Dyche will put Ben Godfrey on the right. I would put Patterson. And I don't want to hear about how he can't defend because every single person on our squad right now as a right back, with the exception of Seamus Coleman, can't defend. And even Coleman is suspect at times. He's just up in age. It just is what it is. I would put Patterson on. I think he puts Godfrey on. 4-5-1 would be the formation. McNeil on the left. If Onana's fit, Onana obviously slots in with Ghana and Decore. But if Onana's not fit, then it's Ghana, Decore, and James Garner, who James Garner's looked very well, compared to the others, very good the last couple of weeks. Not a world beater by any means, but I think he was if we had a man of the match this past match, it would have been James Garner with Alex Iwobi on the right side. I don't love that. I know Iwobi prefers to play in the central. I just think at this point, we're better off with those central midfielders with Decore, Ghana, and James Garner. So Iwobi on the right and then Dominic Calvert-Lewin on top. I would make a sub with Damari Gray. Where does Ellis Sims fit in? A lot of people ask. That's a great question. If we were able to run a 4-4-2, I would love to see DCL and Sims up top. I just don't know if we would be capable of keeping that shape. If we were to run a 4-4-2 with Calvert-Lewin and Sims up top, my midfield would probably be McNeil on the left. Oh, man. With Decore, Idrissa Gana Gueye. And honestly, I would probably put James Garner out there, even if it wasn't necessarily in a natural position. Man, that's tough, though, because I think Garner has the mindset and I think he has the capability and the tactical awareness to play on the right side. I just don't know. Even if he didn't know, let's try to find a way where he could slot into the central and possibly you can't put Decore on the right side. I don't know how that would slot. In matter of fact, you might have to have James Garner coming off the bench and Iwobi on the right side. It's not my favorite thing, but having said all of that, though, if that means just simple football, getting the ball in the box for DCL and Sims to possibly get ahead on it, it's worth a try at this point. I think we've tried everything or a lot of other things. We need to fit Dominic Calvert-Lewin, though. If you couldn't tell how different our attack was against Crystal Palace with Calvert-Lewin in the mix, and I'm not pretending like he set the world on fire, but the offensive buildup it looked different to me. Hopefully we can, and he almost had a wonder goal, by the way. So hopefully we can find a couple of those finishes. But the fact that we didn't get a corner until the 73rd minute last game was quite concerning. We have to be a little bit more proactive in that respect because, well, we just do. I don't know. No real explanation. I think that explains itself. So many people disagree with this, by the way. Patterson in if Coleman is out. Patterson is while he's not a great right back, he's an actual right back. Ben Godfrey is not an actual right back. Mason Holgate shouldn't even be in the. Well, he won't be. Obviously, he's suspended. But when he comes back, he shouldn't be in the squad. It's just a fact. I don't know what I don't get that why people think differently on that. And everybody's entitled to their opinion, but it is what it is. Draw against Newcastle, 3 points against Leicester. I think everybody would actually donate at least one finger. I don't know which one, but people would actually donate a finger for 3 points against Leicester at this point. Very surprised if Coleman's back. I think the Coleman injury is worse than Deitch wants to let on. And it was last week's press conference I thought was very telling when he went over all of the injuries, says we'll see about Onana. We'll see about DCL. He's in the thinking. Coleman was a straightaway answer of he's not right. And what we've seen from that in the past, I'd say a couple of months, is when it's very much declared that they're not right, that means we're not even thinking about it. Something must be fairly serious. Quite honestly, I don't expect to see Coleman the rest of the season. Hope I'm wrong. I don't know if we need, but Coleman, it helps to have Coleman, especially since he's played somewhat well this season, but I don't expect him to be back. We will see. This is an interesting one, by the way. We're safe if we get 4 points these games. I think you might be right because, again, I'll pull the table back up. I think that with 4 points, I'm sorry. That's wrong on my part. I did the maths wrong. If we get, I think we might need 6. I think 34 keeps us safe. I read that wrong. I think 34 will keep us safe because we did a little bit of a discussion on if Leeds can get 4 points, if Leicester can get 5. What I saw today was not impressive at all. The only difference being these teams have shown that they can nick a win no matter where they play. That might be the telling point because we've shown we can't get a win on the away unless we find one against Leicester, and even our home form's been suspect lately. Having said all of that, though, if we do find a win and get to 34 points, I don't know if these can get there. I think we might need more, but I think it's very possible that 34 points can keep us safe. Just my thought. They're both so. Oh God, Leicester and Leeds are so bad. Am I from America? Yes, I am. Born and raised in Louisiana. I've lived all over the country at one point or another. I'm not sure if you all are familiar with America, but I lived in Chicago. I lived in LA. I lived in Houston. I lived in Nashville, and a couple of other places as well. So it's been a fun ride. I've gotten to see some cool cities, and I consider Liverpool a second home. I get over there a couple of times a year, usually for about 4 or 5 weeks. I'm actually I've the last couple of years I've been there for almost half the season, including this season. So yeah, I've seen a lot of awesome football. A lot of away days too. I still have yet to see an away win. So if you guys want to blame somebody, I'm here. It's obviously my fault. Sims is so slow, yeah, but he's capable of putting the ball in the net. A lot of our folks aren't able to exactly do that. 2-1, Andrew says, buddy, I actually we usually every week we'll do like a head and heart prediction. Like, what would your head say? What would your heart say? My heart actually says 2-1. I don't want to say what my head thinks because I might lose a lot of viewers. Jeff says I'm on the stream tomorrow, but I'll be going to the game Thursday. Hope to see you, Jeff. You better be loud, mate. You're sitting. I think Jeff is sitting with Jan, another contributor to our channel. So I'm very jealous. I was meant to be over there, and I wish that I could because it will be. Listen, Thursday night's going to be a good atmosphere, especially. I mean, before I hope that. I'm very worried about us conceding early. Newcastle are a team on form. I don't need to tell you what they've done lately, but well, you know what? Actually, that's just the last game. I can't say that. Let's pull up Newcastle real quick. They were a team on form. They did get battered by Villa. But other than that, obviously, before that, you almost want to chalk that up to a fluke because we'll do this on the match preview as well. We'll cover Newcastle's recent form. But before that, they went to the Etihad and lost 2-0, obviously the cup final. After that, though, they beat Wolves, they beat Forest, they beat United. They have 5 wins on the bounce before they go to Villa Park and lose 3-0. And that was a very decisive game, but to say they made a statement against Spurs is just, what else can you say? And people can say that Spurs were lazy and not up for it, but still, you're a top 5 Premier League side and you just concede 6 goals. That doesn't just happen by fluke. So Newcastle were up for it, to say the least. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. We appreciate it. I think we're almost. I'll do. Let me just. I don't have the exact number like Ryan does, but let me just go to our channel real quick and see where we're at. We're still below 2,000. I don't know exactly how much, but I do know some of you are watching and haven't subscribed. So please do us a favor. Just click the button. It doesn't hurt you. It only helps us if you enjoy what you're watching, or even if you don't, do us a favor. We'd appreciate it. Yeah, Jeff's on our channel, by the way. So one of the comments, I won't put this up. Amy is your girl crush. Hey, I'll definitely let Amy know. Power to you. Amy is great. Fantastic person. Which Everton ex-player would walk into this Everton squad? Leighton Baines is actually my favorite player. And I'm not pretending he was the greatest. My generation, like I didn't grow up with Alan Ball and Graham Sharp and players like that. I grew up with players like Leighton Baines and Timmy Cahill and Louis Saha and Marwan Fellaini and players like that, Stephen Pienaar. Bainesy was always my favorite player. And I don't know if it was just because the first time I ever actually jumped through the roof of my house was the 2011 FA Cup game where he just made that free kick at Stamford Bridge. I exploded. And so I think from then on, I was always a Baines fan. And obviously he, did that on plenty of occasions, maybe not with that sort of dramatics, but Baines was my guy. If we're really answering this question, though, would walk in which ex-Everton player? We could put an entire Everton starting 11 in our squad right now, or just we could even put bang average Everton players into the squad right now. The side is awful. It's not a good side. If you came to me and said Everton are not a Premier League side, I'd have a problem disagreeing with you or putting up an argument. It's just a fact. I'm not being negative. I'm just being truthful. Watch our games. I've said it for a couple of weeks. If you strip the name Everton off of our squad, from a biased Everton fan perspective, if you strip the name Everton off of our squad and just looked at the team and looked at the way they play and looked at the score lines and looked at how many goals they've had, and the way that they lose games, you would say, oh, they're down. They're not a good team. That's just the way it is. We hope we stay up. We hope we find points. We hope we're up for it. We hope Goodison's up for it. We hope we find Goodison magic. We hope we win games. But we're just not that good. Channeling my inner grumpy Jeff here. That was a theme of our last stream. I think Jeff said we're just not that good about 12 times, and he was right all 12 times. 2 wins and 2 draws will absolutely keep us up. There's no way we're going down on 36 points given the teams around us. If we find 2 wins, though, I'd be over the moon. I don't see that happening. I miss losing 3-0 to Sunderland. What a life we live. What a life. We are here voluntarily, by the way. I love it. City will beat us and Brighton probably will. I think we're all admitting that. I don't think any of us think that we're going to get points against City or Brighton. This might sound absurd. Anything can happen under the lights, or not even under the lights. Anything can happen at any night at Goodison Park. We've seen us beat City there before. We've seen us play one of our best games of last season against City at Goodison Park. I'm not pretending like we're going to beat City. I'm not pretending like I'm making that prediction. All I'm saying is I'm not going to give up until that game is over because anything can happen. Arsenal did us a bit of a favor. Well, I'm not exactly saying that correctly because we did take the attack to Arsenal, but it would be funny if we quote unquote returned the favor and helped Arsenal out. When City come to Goodison, that would be funny though. Hey, get in there, Dixie. Pros and cons to living in the USA, but I won't go down that road because, well, that will spark some conversation that we don't want to get to. Hey, Jeff, get out of here. What's the matter with you? Spent his life on West Coast traveling. I've done a lot of traveling in my day. I have been very fortunate in terms of being able to do that. So while life can get you down at times and you can have some setbacks and all that stuff, I shouldn't complain. I've my twin brother, as I call him. I've known him for 25 years. If you haven't, by the way, he was my first interview on my podcast. If you haven't checked that out, I'll give a cheap plug to my channel at Real Domino Chris on YouTube, or just search Domino Chris on YouTube, or on Apple and Spotify podcasts, you can search Real Domino Pod. If you just put that into the Apple or Spotify, you will find my podcast. And I only say that because if you watch my first episode, one of my best friends in the world, his name is Jerome. Anytime somebody has ever asked him how he's doing, he's always said, I'm always good. And the reason is because somebody has it worse than you, somebody in the cancer ward, somebody in the hospital, somebody that's just not having a good day, or somebody that's been rough the last few weeks, they would always trade places with you. So even if you think you got it bad, I'm always good. Don't ever underappreciate the little things. And I've had to learn that over the years as well. So not to get too deep on you, but it's just is what it is. Am I single? Yes, I am. Not that that's relevant. It's an Everton stream, right? Wink, wink. Gut feeling is this: Newcastle 3, Leicester 1, Brighton 0, City 0. Oh, for the rest of our fixtures. Well, hang on. This is the points that we get. I see. Mark, I admire your positivity, mate. If we find 10 points out of the final 18, maybe I'll book a trip over there just to celebrate with you guys. Of course I do. It's all about the content. Hey, Becky's got a good point. Jeff, if you really care about Everton and want to take one for the team, I think it's time that you consider tying yourself to the goalpost. I'm not saying definitely do it. I'm just saying give it a thought. Maybe something will come to you in the next couple days, and especially given how the results might go tomorrow. Not that I'm worried about Forest losing to Brighton or anything, but I will be doing I think I will do a watch along. I was on that a little bit earlier and I didn't finish that thought. I think I will do a watch along tomorrow. I want to watch the Arsenal Man City game. I know a lot of folks don't want to be bothered with that because they're more worried about the relegation battle. But having said that, it's my show in terms of the watch alongs. You don't have to watch them if you don't want to. I think it'll be a decent space. And I will also have the Brighton and Forest game on. I just might not focus fully on it because Arsenal Man City tomorrow is likely for the title. And I know we're Everton fans, but we still love football. So it is what it is. I also reserve the right to change my mind multiple times a day, even every 5 minutes. So I might also just have the Brighton Forest game front and center. We'll see. Either way, I think I'll do a watch along tomorrow, and I hope to see all of you there. We'll get chances versus Newcastle. Yeah, we will. Newcastle do have a solid defense, but I think we will bring – I think we'll have chances. I think we'll have a little bit of an attack to us. I hope that he doesn't – I don't know what I hope from Sean Dyche anymore. I've given Sean Dyche a lot of praise, but I'm still a little bit bothered about the last game and how he didn't make subs because now I just don't they always say trust the manager. I don't trust Sean Dyche to make the right ones. He's done right things, he said right things, but he's also done wrong things. And I think it's okay to point out the wrong things when he does them. So it is what it is. Thank you, Pete. We appreciate it. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Yeah, it's an open forum. I mean, I can't guarantee I'm going to answer. I don't like politics. I don't like religion. So yes, while it is an open forum and there is freedom of speech, if you ask a question like that, I'm probably not going to bother with it. But yeah, ask away. Ask whatever you like. Now DCL is back. No, it's almost like people can forget this because DCL changes the attack. We haven't had DCL for a long time. It's almost like we forgot what it was like when he's in the lineup. He does change the attack. It's just a fact. And if the extra time off, the extra rest, the extra whatever you want to call it, has gotten him actually fully fit, or at least on the way to being fully fit, because John pointed out, he's not what he was a few years ago. I don't know if we ever see that DCL again, but if we can even get a high shell of that, I'm okay with it. It's the best. It's the best thing we can ask for. So we shall see. We don't play like a PL side. Yeah, no, I know. We're not a Premier League side. I just hope we stay in the Prem. But in terms of just players, it is what it is. Makes us much better, but he's still not a good finisher. I don't know about that. He's not a world class England striker finisher. Like, I know he's played for England, but he's not. I don't think he's that at the current moment, but I think he's easily the best finisher on the squad right now. And I think I don't know. I think he's a decent finisher. We haven't seen it in a while, so I don't really have much of a I don't have much of a defense argument to this if I was on trial, but my memories always go back to the Ancelotti years, and it just, we thought we had something great. So I'm hoping he can I'm hoping he can get to some of that, because we all want to see it. I don't care what you think about DCL. You can't sit here and deny that he's somebody that we need right now. It is what it is. Jeff, you like being grumpy, and you know it, mate. It's in your nature. Yeah, we haven't touched on this. There's rumors of a partial takeover or a partial investment in Everton. We don't exactly know the numbers on that, and so I don't want to delve into it too much because I don't know enough about it. We have MSP and 777 both apparently battling is the wrong word, but both apparently making arguments to convince Mashiri that they should be the ones to invest in the club. I don't even know what these conversations are like. I don't know what Mashiri is necessarily looking for. Supposedly it's just for funding of the stadium, but I believe it's MSP that will want more on the board than 777. But again, I hesitate because I don't know all of it yet. So I don't want to just say things just on a guess, but I've actually considered moving to England. It obviously hasn't happened, but the only thing I'll say, again, don't want to go down this road. The only thing I will say about America is, with my current industry, which I'm trying to get out of and do other things, content wise and things like that, it's much better in America financially for me to be here at least for a couple of more years. But if it was just one of those where I could retire and do something else, I would not be where I am right now, with a specific emphasis on healthcare. And we will leave it at that. Pete, thanks, buddy. You are my mate. I appreciate that. Yeah, we've got some cool stuff coming up on my channel. Got some cool interviews, some more reviews and that sort of thing. But I don't want to plug my channel too much on here. This is an Everton channel. Hey, that wasn't the sole reason, but it wouldn't have hurt. Honestly, I'll say this. If I were to date somebody, it probably would be an Everton fan, because they're loyal if they're still with Everton at this point. So loyalty is a big thing. Stop war. Oh, God. I hope we haven't gone down this road. Just stop good internet. Jeff, if you wear a shirt that says just stop good internet, oh, my God. Everton are guaranteed to win. Come on. Do it if you care about the club. We should have beat Spurs. I see a couple of comments about Spurs. We definitely should have done that. Of course. What time is the watch along? Will it be free? Of course it's free. We do not have a paywall. Not that I'm saying that that's a good or bad thing, but we don't have a paywall on this channel. The watch along, let me just do a quick check to make sure I have the times right on tomorrow's games. The watch along for tomorrow will be at 7:30 your time in the evening, or maybe a little bit before the games start. That's the first match. Brighton at Forest is at 7:30 kickoff, and then a couple of after that. Hang on, do I have this right? We have 4 games tomorrow. Okay, I thought there was only 3. Sorry, I'm off here. And then a couple of games, 15 minutes after that is the kickoff of Chelsea and Brentford, and then West Ham and Liverpool. And then at the top of the hour, 8 p.m. your time in the UK, 2 p.m. my time is Man City and Arsenal. And so I think I'll probably get on here a few minutes before, have a very, very brief chat, and then we'll start watching all the games. So tomorrow's going to be fun. It's going to be a lot of action. Obviously, we're most invested, if you like, in the Brighton and Forest game, but even West Ham, not that I'm going to watch a lot of that one because I don't enjoy watching Liverpool, but I don't know. I think West Ham are safe, actually. We can probably just not even watch that one. And then Arsenal and City. So it'll be mostly Forest and Brighton and Arsenal and City. And we can talk about how shitty Chelsea are, given the fact that they've spent £600 million if you want. But that's totally up to you. And talk about how dumb Todd Bowley is. He's such a dumb American. Am I right? 3-1, Man City over Arsenal, 3-3. I could see any result in that game. I do think City will win, but if Arsenal went in there and found a draw, wouldn't be shocking. This show will go big. Yeah, make it happen. That would be cool. Everton won, Newcastle 7. I was only given Newcastle 4, but sad state of affairs. Oh boy. Just getting to the religious comments. Leaving those alone, boys and girls. Wouldn't that be cool if I was part of the consortium buying the club? I go from follow Everton to a spot on the Everton board. Surely it can't be worse than it is now, right? Hey, buddy. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate the kind words, Wanderlust. Thank you. My ex is a red now. She used to be blue. Wait, what? Were you that bad to her? What have you done, Danny? That's actually an interesting conversation. I see a few. We have Dave Wezzo on every now and then. Dave Weston. I think he said his missus was a red. I've seen a couple of family friends that I know over there that are relationships of mixed blue and red. I wonder how that goes. Like in America, American football rules everything, right? I've seen a few. I've never dated a rival of my university's team or my pro team or whatever. I wonder how that would go. I wonder how bad that would be. Like there has to be, if you're both very, very passionate, there has to be some arguments there. I'm sure in the most part you can put it past. It's just sport. American sports are just different. I'm not pretending like Americans aren't passionate about their sports, but it's a different view when there's no relegation. Like I view American sports and then overseas sports very, very differently. Whatever the case is, though, I mean, you're still passionate about your team. So I can't imagine how a household is when it's a house divided like that. And I especially can't imagine it right now with Reds and Blues overseas divided, given the state that both those clubs are in. Who's my favorite USA player whom has played for us? That's a great question. It is definitely Tim Howard because he was a main reason I got into Everton in the first place back in the late 2000s, or the late noughties, I think, as you call them overseas. I got on when Tim Howard and Landon Donovan both played for the club. And I know Donovan's stint was brief, but that Donovan was basically at the time Captain America. We've had a few different, well, that's not even true. I guess it was Michael Bradley. Donovan at the time was basically the face of American soccer. And so he was a big goal scorer. I played forward. I was a striker. And so I kind of took to Donovan as somebody to emulate, I guess, on the pitch. And so when I saw Donovan was playing for Everton, my friend and I both jumped on board. And again, it's not like I jumped on when we were winning, cups and things like that. Like I've seen, don't ever call me a front runner. But the point is Timmy Howard was my guy, though. I mean, he was just loyal through and through. The saves he would make were ridiculous, and you could tell that he just loved the club. You could tell he was so passionate about it. Who am I missing, by the way? Brian McBride, Joe Max Moore, Timmy Howard, Landon Donovan. Any other Americans play for Everton that I'm missing? I know we've had a few other more relevant ones, or not more, but a few other relevant ones. Clint Dempsey for Fulham and Tottenham obviously comes to mind. You've got a couple on Leeds right now. I really do rate Tyler Adams, even though he's been hurt. I think he's going to do well for Leeds. I thought Adams and McKinney would be better in the midfield than they have been. I don't really rate Brendan Eriksson much. And again, I know I'm missing a lot. Obviously, the name Christian Pulisic comes to mind. A lot of people really don't think he's going to fit. I think he's done okay at Chelsea. I think he's been more injury prone. I think he gets a little bit more of a bad rap because he is American. But having said that, he's not set the world on fire by any means. I just think he has more potential than a lot of others. But a great question. Where does the word domino enter my username? So I've played competitive dominoes for 25 years. I haven't in a couple years now, but That was basically dominoes was always a part of my life when I was a kid. I have a tattoo of a domino right here. That's another story though. But when I was a kid, I played dominoes. None of my friends knew anyone else who did that. So my nickname has been Domino since I was 10 years old. And it's stuck ever since. I was on the radio for a couple years. My radio name was Domino. I've been on TV shows both in America and overseas with domino related challenges. I've won championships all over the country playing dominoes. Like dominoes has and always will be a part of my life, even though I don't play anymore. But domino, you know, half the people I know me as Domino and half know me as Chris. And so honestly, it took until a couple of years ago. I just decided to combine the two and be Domino Chris on pretty much every platform. Does it sound a little bit silly? Maybe, but I'll make it work. I don't care. You got to believe in what you're selling, or else no one else will believe in it. So I'm Domino Chris. My pod is Real Domino Pod, and my name on every single platform is at Real Domino Chris. I just wanted some consistency. Watch along, start 10 minutes before. Hey, I think what I'm thinking is 10 minutes into the game. Oh, yeah, that might be decent. We'll have a lot of scores by then. I do these streams late. That's because it's early for me over here. But you're right. I sometimes I adjust my schedule, though. I can't fully get on board with that because I also get up, for these half 12 kickoffs. That's 6:30 a.m. my time. So I do get up early in the morning for some of these. I wouldn't be surprised DCL can't play 2 games. Yeah, we actually asked this after the last game because he played 90 minutes almost last game. And so we said, are you going to keep him on? Are you going to keep him going consistently the next couple of games? Obviously, a fully fit striker should be able to do that. We don't really know if he's technically fully fit. Didn't seem to come off with any injury. Didn't seem to look wrong. And I think that's why Deitch left him on. But you still get a little heart flutter every time he hits the ground and you worry a little bit. So I don't know how he's going to play it. I don't know if DCL will start this week. I think he will, but I wouldn't be surprised if he didn't. We shall see. Forest will be with us until Wolves away when they have Arsenal. I don't think I think it's very possible Forest don't get another point. I think, sorry, I can't say that because they do host Southampton. I think they'll get, I don't see a way Southampton win that game. But funnily enough, the best result might be Southampton winning that game. Don't even want to get into it, but Forest shouldn't get very many more points, but we will see. I'm assuming this is a prediction for tomorrow. That would be a monumental result if Arsenal go into City and win that game, given the recent form the City have been on. They've won at least 5 on the bounce. I'd have to go look and see officially what that is, but we shall see. I think City win that game, and I think Arsenal blew it a couple of weeks ago, quite frankly. Matter of fact, whenever that goal went in from Bobby Firmino at Anfield, I think Arsenal blew it. But the fact that they go 2-0 up on West Ham and just seem to be coasting and drawing at West Ham was just almost the final nail in the coffin. Having said all of that, Gary Neville had a great quote the other day. Sir Alex Ferguson used to always say, if you could have one game to win the league, would you take it? Everybody would obviously say yes. This is that game. So despite what they've done in the past 3 games, it all doesn't matter because it's all to play for still. But I don't think they're going to win. We shall see. We've got an away fan. You lot are getting cooked on Thursday. A Newcastle fan has found the channel. I mean, you might be right. We'll see. I don't care. It is what it is. Hope you're wrong, though. You certainly were last season. Favorite current American players? That's a good question, actually. I don't watch the national team like I used to, but I guess the ones I've named probably. I mean, I did watch the World Cup. I watched us play England especially, and I watched us, quite frankly, torch England in the midfield with Weston McKennie and Tyler Adams. I think that the U.S. were probably the only team on the pitch that was going to score in the second half. And we were a bit lucky not to concede in the first half. But I'd probably stick with those, the midfielders, Christian Pulisic, Weston McKennie, Tyler Adams. They're really the bread and butter and the meat and potatoes of that team. I don't really rate our defenders very much, even though we do have Anthony Robinson, who does play for Fulham now, who was in Everton's. I don't even want to talk about what we let go, but whatever. I think the midfield would be amongst my favorite Americans. But my Americans are mostly of years past. I think we rely now a bit too much on Pulisic, but it is what it is. Like I said, I don't watch a ton like I used to. It's just a different. I spoke with some people who were in the American system, the U.S. soccer system, and they filled me in on some things I didn't really want to know about in terms of politics and bullshit and things like that went on back in like 2010 and 2014. And it just kind of, when you know too much, it kind of just gives you a bad taste about whether you want to put full follow and support. Now, having said all that, if you, I could say that about Everton too, because I think we know too much about how horrible that club is run. But here we are, still supporting. It is what it is. Joe Maxmore was American for sure. Is this everyone's favorite Everton channel? Of course, it's the best. See the tats? You'll have to pay extra for that. Should get Richie back for 25 million. Wouldn't that be delicious? Speaking of delicious, I wish I don't know. I don't know if I could deliver pizza. I don't think I could. I don't think it would make it to the customer. Domino Chrisvert Lewin. All right, you're reaching, Becky, but fair enough. I wish I wish I had that footballing quality. Get in there, the Blues. Stop it. You guys are making me blush. Quit it. Yeah, this is a good point. I think Saliba was injured though, wasn't he? The Blues. But yeah, Holding's not been he's not been very good. I kept Holland as well. Actually, last week I played where Holland was out last week. Never mind, he didn't even play. That's why I didn't have Holland as captain. But I've cost myself many a points this season by not captaining Holland every week. I should have just stuck with consistency, but it is what it is. Fantasy team's still looking decent. I'm going to win one league for sure, but in the others I might have bottled it, but I don't want to talk about it. Point against Newcastle will be good. 3 points against Leicester is a must. Yeah, I'm still hoping for 3 points on Thursday. I don't know. I don't trust it. Hopefully we can just find a wonder goal like we did early against Brentford, but we'll see. Definitely beat Leicester. I don't know what team you've been watching, mate. Leicester are going to open us up. I think Leicester, I think the first 25 minutes, 20 to 25 minutes of the Leicester game will be all on Jordan Pickford, and I hope that he makes the saves. Hate to be that way, but we're going to get opened up against Leicester. They're just that. And with the only exception being if they obviously have these plays, if Iheanacho's out, if Vardy for some reason isn't fit, okay, obviously things might be a little bit different, but I still think their midfield, especially with Madison, has the capability. I don't trust our players right now. It just is what it is. Even if Leicester put out a mediocre side, I think that, I don't know. Believe it when I see it. Sorry again for being so negative. Just a reality. Just a reality. But anyway, I think I've gotten through most of the comments. And again, this was supposed to be a 20-minute stream that's now on an hour and 20 minutes. So it's gone a little bit more. But again, I do love the interaction. That's why I stay on as long as I do. I appreciate all of you guys sticking with us really every week, but especially today, and for spontaneous streams such as this. I think we've all gotten it out how we feel about Leicester and the upcoming Newcastle game. Maybe not all of it out because we do still have a pre-match. I actually thought the press conference was today. I was mistaken. Sean Dyche's press conference is tomorrow morning, and so we will be here at some point after that for the pre-match build-up to the Newcastle game on Thursday. We'll be back tomorrow night for that. Obviously, we'll do a quick pre-match show for Newcastle on Thursday night when the team news comes out. I don't know who will be on that. It'll probably be me. Honestly, I might be solo because I don't know who all is going to the game. I know Jeff's going to the game. I know Jan's going to the game. I'm not sure about Ryan, but we shall see. We'll likely not be on tomorrow. Sorry, let me take that back. I will be on tomorrow for the watch-alongs. In terms of the pre-match, though, I don't know if that's going to run together, but we'll keep you updated on the Twitter. If you haven't followed us on there, you can follow us on Twitter at Follow Everton. Obviously, my personal Twitter page at Real Domino Chris is listed there as well. YouTube goes for that for both of us as well. Both the same names, Follow Everton, and of course at Real Domino Chris on YouTube and Twitter. We all would appreciate that. Listen, I don't know what else to say. I'm worried. I'm not feeling great for a long time. I tried to stay optimistic, but I'm about as worried as I have been all season. Wezzo to the rescue. Hey, Wezzo's good. I like Wezzo. Great guy. Possibly, though. Goodison will be loud on Thursday. Goodison is going to be – the atmosphere is going to be electric. Again, I just hope they don't get deflated. I hope we're into them on every challenge, every call, everything that could possibly do to get these players over the line. Thanks, Peter, buddy. I really appreciate the kind words. I very much do. If you think I just – excuse me. If you think I just brushed those off, I don't. I always appreciate that. Thank you very much. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining. No, but back to that thought. I don't know. I'm just worried. I'm hoping things change in the next couple of days. A win on Thursday obviously will change my mindset, but I just hope we show up. But again, smash that like button, smash the subscribe button. More importantly, we're that close to 2,000. We've been saying it for a while, but we really are this close now. Just a few more subs. and we appreciate all of you. So if you've enjoyed it, even if you haven't, like and subscribe, all of our pages, Twitter, YouTube, all that good stuff. And up the F and Toffees. See you soon, everybody.